This past Monday night on Raw, Penta won his first WWE Championship.
And what the hell's going on with the Elimination Chamber? I think WWE needs to rework it after this year's version.
Let's go ahead and roll the intro, and we're going to jump right into it.
All right, Joe, let's jump into the first topic. Last night on Monday Night Raw, Penta beat Dominic for the Intercontinental Championship. And as you mentioned in the opening, that's his first with the WWE. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's well overdue. I know he lost it, or first he started on a hot streak where he was winning a bunch of matches, and then they had him job out a few times. Now he's winning again, and obviously he won the championship. I think it's great to see. I kind of thought the tag belts with Rey Fenix were going to be the first title that he won. Kind of stinks, I guess, that Rey Fenix is getting buried a little bit here. I mean, what has he done recently? But yeah, I think it's great. But I think even a big point of this whole thing as well, which is I think where the storyline was kind of going, was that Balor wouldn't let Dom and JD cheat, stopped JD from giving him the hammer. Said no, he needs to do this on his own. He said he wants to do it on his own. And then sure enough, Penta beat him. So I think this is leading to the big, Balor face turn that we all thought was coming. And then in addition to that, I think it's leading to a Dom versus Balor Wrestlemania.
Yeah, breakup at the Judgment Day. It's been kind of going on for the last few months with all the injuries and everything. We haven't seen him as much. They make sporadic appearances here and there. They've been hinting at potentially Raquel and Liv feuding as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Maybe there'll be some sort of an internal civil war, and the unit to break up, and they'll all go their separate ways. So we'll see on that. Going back to Penta winning, I think it's great. I think it's been expected for a while. He wins, like you said, most of his matches again recently. Every match is in. You expect him to win. He's one of the best wrestlers out there right now. He's well over with the crowd. I was disappointed to see Dom lose the title. He's been one of my favorites the last year. After hating him for the first couple of years, I got back into wrestling. But they wanted you to hate him,
yeah.
And eventually, I grew to love hating him. That's what they want. It's a perfect character. So following this up, as you mentioned, I'm sure he's going to feud with Finn Balor and or JD going into WrestleMania. But after that, going into the summer, I guess late summer this year, Money in the Bank is in August. I'd like to see Dominic win the Money in the Bank. I don't know that he deserves the heavyweight championship, but I think the stories he can, the lines that come out of it, and Dom being just a greasy, ratty character with that Money in the Bank, going after the different champions and everything, I think is potential, storyline gold.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I think, I'm not sure that I would be behind Dom beating like a Lesnar or an Obafemi or something like that for the title, but I think giving him the Money in the Bank kind of fits his character a little bit, because he can, tease what he's going to do and stuff like this like crazy before ultimately he tries to cash it in and it burns him a little bit or something like that. Maybe his dad or something, they revisit that or whatever.
Every once in a while, the whoever wins the Money in the Bank has to fail a cash in.
Yep.
If they win every cash in, it just becomes, okay, when's it going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of gets repetitive at that point. So
yeah.
Everyone just assumes that's what's going to happen.
Next up. Well, we tapped at it a little bit in the previous topic, but what do you think's going on with the Judgment Day? Where do you see each of the different members going from here?
Well, like we mentioned, I think Balor is pretty much done with the Judgment Day at this point, right? I think he's going to go face and challenge for. I would like to see him. I would have loved to see him win the title against CM Punk the other day, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But he's another guy like Penta, like we mentioned, deserves a title. He's put in the work, and the last time he had a title was like 10 years ago.
10 years
when
ago,
he had a main
mentioned.
title, like a singles title. He's due.
Gave it up the day after he won it because he was hurt,
blew his shoulder out or his elbow or whatnot. Yeah. So I think Balor goes off face turn. Hopefully we see Demon Balor come back against Dom in WrestleMania. For the girls, I think they were setting up, how I feel anyway, Raquel Rodriguez. I think they were setting her up a little bit at Elimination Chamber. They made her look like a beast in there, just destroying everybody. So she could go on almost like a Brock Lesnar, Obafemi type run where they're going to start booking her against lesser opponents and she's going to smash them. And then, just to build her up for another title match. So whoever wins at WrestleMania or something like that, it looks like a worthy opponent for them. And I could see her with a title. As much as I didn't like Raquel Rodriguez halfway through the year last year, she's been doing a lot better. Her character is much more believable now.
They're
And
playing into her size.
yeah, which is
And they
good.
said make her a dominant character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could not stand her when she was a face, but she is much better as a heel, and she's grown into that role.
What about
and
Liv?
JD McDonough? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Him too, real quick. JD McDonough. I don't know if you said it on the last thing or if you might have said it earlier. I think he goes with Finn.
You think so?
Yeah, just because they're boys, right?
And they're both Irish. It
Yeah.
makes sense. They have those ties. And Finn brought him into the Judgment Day.
Yeah. So I could see maybe him faking it for a while, and then maybe at WrestleMania when he fights Dom, it's like the swerve. He cheats and helps Finn win or something like that. I don't know. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So the last couple of weeks, we've had Liv Morgan feuding with Stephanie Vaquer. They're going to wrestle at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
There's online rumors that Dom might turn on Liv Morgan and go with Stephanie. Does that mean Dom goes face or Stephanie goes heel? And do Dom and Stephanie form a new version of the Judgment Day? The Judgment Day is where it's on its 4th or 5th iteration now.
Yeah, I have not seen that rumor. So that's first I've heard of that. So I'll have to look into that one. But I hope they don't do that, because how many times are they going to redo this? Where he was with, I almost said China, with Rhea Ripley, and then got rid of her, and then Judgment Day reformed again, and he's with Liv Morgan, and then it's going to reform again. Now he's going with Stephanie Vaquer. People did see hints of Vaquer possibly turning heel when she cut that long promo.
Yeah.
So maybe, I mean, it's a possibility. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Next topic up. Doing a bit of a WrestleMania main event preview. We know one of the matches is going to be Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. But the other one, right now we've got Randy versus Cody, supposedly.
No, Randy versus Drew.
Randy versus Drew, right. I'm sorry. But then now Cody is facing Drew this Friday, and then Fatu's been involved. So you think they're building towards some sort of fatal 4-way at WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I think it's going to be Drew, Cody, Fatu, and Orton in a fatal 4-way. I hope that they don't try to pull a Cody wins at SmackDown and it's Cody versus Orton is the main event. I don't think anyone really wants to see that either. I know they were hinting towards that a while ago, months back, but I'm not sure if people want to see that any more than they don't want to see Cody versus Drew, right?
Yeah. The only way that makes sense is if right now somehow Cody turns heel. I don't see that happening against Drew. He did come out at Elimination Chamber. He wasn't in his normal red, white, and blue. He was in more of a blue and yellow. So they've been changing his colors up a little bit. He was wearing a lot of black late last year.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think that makes sense to have Cody versus Randy at WrestleMania either.
Yeah. And even if they did a 3-way with Drew, Cody, and Randy, I think that's better. But adding Fatu into it kind of, I think, is what's going to put it over, right? Because I think he is just crazy enough. He's over enough. I think he adds a certain element that match doesn't have. So I think if they do that, which I'm 50-50 on if I think it's a good idea or not. But I hope Fatu is part of it because
he needs to be a part of it.
Yeah.
He's been a part of the monster storyline, like lately. There's no reason to have him a part of this storyline if they're not going to put him in this match, or if they do it maybe before WrestleMania. But I don't know how they do that. We got 7 weeks till WrestleMania, so a lot can still happen.
Yeah. And I mean, what's the point? Like I was saying, if Cody wins on Friday, what did Drew do to deserve
that was
losing his spot?
Yeah, that was going to be my next bring up is Drew deserves a title run. Like you can say whatever, but he it's storyline, it's whatever. But
I think he's still carrying.
He's still carrying him. He's one of the best wrestlers. He's great on the mic. He's he's a beast. He's a perfect heel. He's better a heel than he was a face. But has he even had a successful defense since he won it? Like, let the man carry the belt and win a couple matches.
I mean, obviously we don't see the numbers, so I don't know which one of their guys are money movers or needle movers or whatever. But Drew's got to be up there. He's a heel, biggest heel, at least on SmackDown. People boo him, but you do hear he gets a lot more cheers than a lot of the other heels do because people like his character. They like that he's so dominant. And I don't see why they should pull the title off him, just unless Triple H and WWE is just so in love with Cody.
Yeah. I'm expecting some sort of a run-in interference this week. I think maybe Randy gets pissed off and wants his shot at Drew. So why would he let Cody win? Maybe this is Randy's heel turn. They've been hitting at that for a while now that the voices are waking up. So,
and one quick note on that same thing, you were talking about turning Cody heel. something that he has been complaining about is he's QB1. I'm QB1. So maybe something he's starting to get a little, I don't want to say jealous, but a little kind of in his own head, and that's what turns him heel, maybe.
Could be.
Something like
Which
that.
would fit the Homelander gimmick.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. Alrighty. Now, with all this talk of a fatal four-way at WrestleMania, when it should be Randy versus Drew, that's the whole point of the Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
Is Elimination Chamber pointless this year? What was the point of Randy winning that match if they're going to go ahead and put him in a four-way or give Cody a shot at Drew before? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And not even, besides just putting him in a four-way, 3 of the people in that four-way were in the chamber.
Yes.
Or 2, I'm sorry, 2 of them. Cody and Randy were both in it.
And Fatu had 2 chances.
Yeah,
he
and lost both.
Yes.
So it kind of does make the Elimination Chamber, especially this year, pointless. I'm going to have to sneeze, so I'm going to move the mic, but go ahead.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, Drew did interfere with Jacob both times and cost him the match both times, so that's how they tie Jacob back into this. One of the things I had forgot about, but I saw online yesterday morning after the Elimination Chamber announcement in the post-show match that Cody and Drew were wrestling on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Cody's not supposed to have another shot at the title. He lost that. That was one of the stipulations in that match with Drew McIntyre, the 3 levels of hell match, which is why he wanted to win the Elimination Chamber of the Royal Rumble so bad, because that was the only way he was getting another shot at Drew.
So I think there's some continuity in the storylines being a little broken here. I know a lot of people were mad, at least online from what I read, about Cody and Drew again at WrestleMania. I've heard Triple H has been rewriting the WrestleMania script over and over and over again. And
people keep getting hurt.
Yeah, people keep getting hurt. I know a lot of that it's out of his control, but none of these guys were hurt. Fatu, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, these guys weren't hurt. I mean, this storyline has been fine, right? Yeah. So it's just kind of, I think it's very up in the air right now. It's a lot of uncertainty, and not uncertainty in a good way.
Yeah. Like 7 weeks sounds like a lot of time, but it's only a few shows.
14 shows.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens between now and then. I know they're struggling to sell tickets, so they're going to have to do some sort of a big storyline. Maybe that's what this is. But going back to the Elimination Chamber, I mean, it's kind of pointless this year because obviously it's not going to end up a one-on-one match. I would be very surprised if that happened. So do they need to change it going forward? Do they need to go back to the old model of the Elimination Chamber and put one of the titles on the line? Whether it's an Intercontinental US title, maybe change it up and do a 6 tag team champions, or just go back in one of the heavyweight titles instead of having if they're going to not give the person a chance, do they need to make the match for a title again?
Right. I guess my only issue with that would be then is you have the winner of the Royal Rumble gets a title shot against whatever champion they want. And then who gets the other shot then? You know what I mean? I guess they would have to figure that out. Like you said, they used to do that at Elimination Chamber. They would fight, and then whoever won would win the title. So I'd have to go back and see what they did for that. Maybe then they do like a tournament over the next 7 weeks to decide who gets the title shot against whoever won the elimination. I don't know.
Bring back King of the Ring. King of the Ring is the March PLE right before WrestleMania. Whoever wins King of the Ring tournament gets the other WrestleMania.
Yeah, they
shot.
could do that. They could add another. Yeah, they could add something. But yeah.
All right, moving on. So Seth versus Division. Seth came back at Elimination Chamber. He snuck in he had 4 different masked men come in to distract people last night. But at Elimination Chamber, he had one guy come in, try and climb the cage. Security took him back. He went in the cage, stomped Logan, cost Logan the match. Again, last night, he ended up stomping Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So Seth versus Division. What are your thoughts?
Well, Seth versus what's left of the Division, I guess, unless they're going to introduce new people to the Division. To my understanding, a lot of the plans they had for Bronson Reed before he got hurt, they basically just plucked him out and dropped Logan Paul in. Which is fine. I don't know why they won't give Austin Theory a chance at any of this stuff. That blows my mind a little bit because Austin Theory is a good worker. He's good on the mic.
Logan Paul's the bigger heel right now.
Well, he's a bigger heel and he's a bigger name, right?
Yeah.
But
Seth versus Logan, it would be an amazing match.
Yeah, they had that match already, though.
Yeah.
That match has happened already. But it's fine. I mean, Seth versus Logan would be a fine match, but is it a WrestleMania match?
I think it's two big names. I think Seth versus Logan is better for WrestleMania than Seth versus Austin Theory.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, in that case for sure. But there is also rumor that Braun Breaker will be back in time. And if Braun Breaker's back, then they're going to do Seth versus Breaker, which is a bigger match as well.
Yeah.
That's more of a WrestleMania style match. But who knows? Right now, it looks like Seth versus Logan Paul.
Yeah. A lot of people are complaining online that it doesn't make sense for Seth to attack the Vision, being that when he formed the Vision, it was Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and they're both out. I think it's kind of nonsense. I mean, it's still a group. Paul Heyman.
Well, I think it's Paul Heyman connection.
Yeah,
right.
So
yeah.
he's gonna attack whoever has to attack to get back at Paul Heyman. And right now, his first thing was Logan Paul, and then now it's last night he went after Paul Heyman to make it a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
So
it's funny though that he did he does the stomp all the time, and guys just kind of fall and they get back up. He does a stomp on Paul Heyman, and his face is just bloodied everywhere, and he's just a mess. He can't walk. I don't know. That kind of stuff is goofy, but I know why they did it. It's just kind of goofy to me.
Yeah, Paul Heyman shouldn't be able to take the same move that a wrestler should take.
I know
he doesn't have the nose muscles built up.
Yeah, that's what it is. He doesn't have the nose reps at the gym to take a Seth Rollins stomp.
Another thing about Seth I saw is the blonde is gone. So I'm seeing a lot of
streak.
The blonde streak. So I'm seeing a lot of people say online or hinting at that maybe it's going to be a different Seth Rollins, a darker Seth Rollins. Yeah, Shield or the Architect. A darker Seth Rollins.
Do you remember when he was the Messiah?
I don't. Again, I didn't watch wrestling much between like the late 2007, 2008 up until about 5 years ago, 2020. So I missed a lot of that. Like I missed the Shield and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and these current wrestlers. I missed all their origins.
Oh yeah. The Messiah was one of my favorites. They didn't do it very long. The crowd wasn't behind it at all, but I thought it was funny. He was like cult leader type character. I thought it was funny. Anyway,
right. Last topic of the day. We've got LA Knight. Is he being buried? I looked up some stats. We've talked about this a few times. People online have been complaining that he keeps getting close, and why won't they put the title on him? And I know I mentioned it a couple weeks ago that LA Knight on the second season of Unreal, that WWE were upset behind the scenes that he may have botched the ending of the Money in the Bank ladder match. He was supposed at one point, Seth Rollins was climbing the ladder. He was supposed to meet him halfway up, and they were supposed to feud on the ladder. LA Knight was outside the ring. He missed the spot, and they were really upset by that. So I did some research last night, and I went through and calculated all of LA Knight's singles matches for 2025. Okay. So he started the year on a heater. He for the entire year, he was 22 wins, 13 losses, and a draw. These are all singles matches, no tag team matches. He started the year 14-1 with winning the U.S. Championship. During his U.S. Championship run, he went 7-1. So when he lost, at the end of his reign, he was 14-2 on the year. Okay. He lost, if I recall, to, was it Braun Breaker? Or who did he lose to? I don't recall. I had it written down.
Braun Breaker was a champion for a while, so maybe.
Okay. But he finished after that. He finished the year 8-12.
Okay.
7-8 after SummerSlam. And after SummerSlam, though, he did have 2 championship matches. He did have the rematch against Seth Rollins. If you recall, he beat Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins faked the injury.
Yep.
And then once Seth Rollins cashed in, LA Knight got the rematch. He lost that. And then he lost the Fatal 4-Way after Seth gave up the title.
Which also was kind of burying him a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact that he lost to a guy who faked an injury.
But so far, he took some time off. He's 1-0 in 2026. His only match so far, other than the Elimination Chamber match, was the qualifying match. So, is this a coincidence? Did he not have a good U.S. title run, or what's going on with LA Knight?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
No
we've talked about this before. I mean, he's super over with the crowd. I know he sells merch. I know, everyone loves to see him. Sometimes he gets bigger pops than like their main guys that are on the roster. But for some reason, they will not do anything with him. They always make him get close, but then he fails. And eventually the crowd is just going to be like, okay, there's no point anymore.
Yeah.
Why am I cheering for this guy who has no chance? And LA Knight isn't a young guy.
No.
He's definitely on the other end of his career. I do think he still has some years left, but he's not just starting. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Are they afraid that he's semi-limited like a Jey Uso? Where if they put the title on him, people that love him. Now, people love Jey Uso up until he won the title. So will the same thing happen to LA Knight? Is that their fear? That he won't be able to carry a title? I think
with Jey Uso became almost like, which I know you said you didn't watch it, and not exactly, but when Roman Reigns first was a face way back, the crowd booed the crap out of him because WWE just jammed him down the throats. It was always Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. I think that's what they started doing with Jey Uso, and that started kind of annoying people.
Okay.
And I also think people were so on the LA Knight side of things when they were pushing Jey Uso over LA Knight, because they're about the same tier to me, those two. People were getting mad because they wanted to see LA Knight. So I do think WWE, for some reason, maybe that, like you said, the ladder match screw up or something, or when he held up the sign or whatever it was, I do think LA Knight's getting buried by WWE for sure.
All right. Well, that's all the topics I had today. So why don't you wrap us up?
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Is the Elimination Chamber pointless now? What should they do to fix the Elimination Chamber?
Is LA Knight being buried?
Yeah, is LA Knight being buried, So thank you for watching. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you leave some comments down below. Let us know, what do you think that we should do or that WWE should do with the Elimination Chamber? Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what we can do better.
What future topics you want to hear us talk about. Our Wednesday show is going to be, we're going to recap the events of the weekend, but we also are going to talk about the ongoings on wrestling.
Yeah. So again, thanks for watching. We're almost at 200 subs. Let's keep pushing. We'll get there. And that's all thanks to you guys. So make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and watch another video if you like what you saw. So thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching another episode of Wrestlestop. If you liked what you saw, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You can reach us at any of the addresses on screen, and there's a couple extra videos here on the screen. If you liked what you saw, maybe you'll like one of these as well. Thanks for watching.